I have book now very necessary. Uh, Today's class, we are going to be looking at the county system in Edo, on at Ọlaba, Edo. According to our note here, we say numbers in Edo are called Ọlaba, and the act of counting in Edo is called Ikeni. The Edo language has a unique numerical system that primarily relies on addition or subtraction to form numbers. Unlike the Western numbers, instead of using standalone number names for each numerals, the system often derives numbers by either adding to the base numbers or subtracting from the number one. From the number one is counting to. Basically, what this means is that in Edo, there is a unique way we count, and that way is after counting from 1 to 15. What we now do, because the number 16 is not a single number, the number 17 is not a single number, there is a logic behind that number. What is that logic? The logic is that we are explaining that number. For example, the English we say 16, right? But in Edo, that 16 is, in order for you to say 16, you must describe 16, you must describe it, right? So, how do we now describe it? You can choose to describe it by saying 1 has been added to 15, that is 15 plus 1, which is equals to 16. Or you can say 4 has been subtracted from 20, which is 20 minus 4, which is also 16. Now, that is the logic behind the Edo counting system. For example, I said the system built on certain base numbers, particularly numbers after 15, often involve an addition or subtraction approach. This structure reflects a logical pattern in the language numerical function. For example, he said 16 can be formed as 15 plus 1 or 20 minus 4. 17 can be formed as 15 plus 2 or 20 minus 3. Examples will be given in Edo, so just follow. We also said 18 can be formed as 15 plus 3 or 20 minus 2. 19 can be formed as 15 plus 4 or 20 minus 1. In Edo, numbers from 1 to 15 have single names and they are as follows. Now, let me quickly recap. Let me explain again from the top. Now, in Edo language, unlike English language or any other language that we know, counting is simple, but in order for you to know how to count in Edo, you must know the logic behind it. Some people say, why is it like this? And why is it? Why do Edo people have to say Opa Nyauge? It is because of the logic behind counting, right? So the Edo's idea of counting is we have the number 1, we have the number 2, we have the number 3, down to the number 15, right? Even number 15 is a description, but because it is a single word, we can just leave it like that. I will explain why I said it's a description as time goes on. Now, when you get to number 15, the words now are no longer single. When we are doing word formation, probably in our next class, we'll be seeing words like Osanyade. In Edo, it is a single word. In English, it is a long sentence. In Edo, if you are not referring to a person's name, You are saying Osa Eonyade, meaning God owns the day. That is a long word. It is not a single word. That logic is what we use in counting because we can as well say 16 is a Nairobi single word, right? But when you break it down, what are you hearing? You are hearing a ne, which is 4, a Irobugie, meaning 4 is no longer in 20. In other words, 20 minus 4. So as we can see here, we have Owo slash Okpa, right? Now, the number, this one in Edo can be seen in three different ways. One is Owo, right? That is to count when you are counting the numeral Owo. Okpa, quantity. Quantity is where we your mom say bring something for me, maybe orange or mango, and when you ask her iye unu she says okpa, quantity. Owo is numerical, that is the number one. Okpa is the quantity that quantifies. How many orange do you have? I have just one. Okpa, right? Then okao, quality. See, number one numerical, number two quantity, number three quality. Unu oya ladnya okao oya ladnya. Unu no okao no. That is how what number is he among his peers? Is the first among his peers. Quality. The material you are buying, what is the quantity? Is the first among its peers. You go to the market, that material is number one of quality. Do you understand? So basically, that is how the Edo perceives these three numbers. We have three different, unlike English that they will use one. What is the quality? It's number one. What is the quantity? Is also number one. What is the numeral? Number one. Just one. One is representing all. In Edo, it is different. Owo is the numeral. Okpa is the quantity, while Okao is the quality, right? So we have the number two, Eva. Number three, Eha. Number four, Ene. Five, Isen. Six, Ean. Ean. Seven, Iyan. Seven, Iyan. Eight, Iyan. Eight, Iyan. Nine, Iyan. Nine, Iyan. Please, you see, when I was teaching the Edo alphabet, I told you about the single arrow, the double arrow, and the arrow H. Do not make the mistake of pronouncing this as Iran. Iran. Right? Kevin, no problem. It is not Iran. This is not Irere. This is not Iri. No. This is Iran. The R is silent. This is now a lot of us are familiar with that exclamation. right? Best way to pronounce number 8 is with that exclamation. Yeah, right? So it is the closest description I have for it. So that's why I always use it. Then we have e, right? The H in the end is not correct. That is the spelling. And then we have igbe, which is 10. 11, owo, owo. 12, iweva. 13, ìwèà. 14, ìwènẹ. 15, èkésùgè. Can everybody hear me, please? Hello? Wàyẹ̀mẹ̀nìtà.
Ẹ̀ẹ̀mẹ̀hàn.
Meanwhile, from the number 15 to 20 and above, the numbers are then described as seen below. You now have Okpa, Nya, Ekesuge, which is 1 on top of 15, right? 1, that's 15 plus 1. But if you are to translate it word for word, Okpa, Okpa is 1, Nya is on top, Ekesuge 15. So we have Okpa, Nya, Ekesuge. Or Ene Iro, Ene Iro Wugie, right? 20, sorry, 4 is no longer in 20. That is how it is. So we have Okpanya Kesuge or Enerowugi, which is 16. 17 becomes Evanya Kesuge or Ene Ehairovugi. 3 is out of 20 or 2 added to 15. This is basically the logic behind the Edo counting system. And then we have 18, we have Ea Nya Uge or Eva Iro Uge. And then we have 19, Enenya Ekesuge or Okpa Iro Uge. Then we have finally 20, Uge. Say another beautiful thing about this counting is that the number 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, in fact, down to 100, all have single leaves. They are also described though, but they are not like this. They are not like Okpanya Ekesuge or Eneirobuge. They are also described. For example, the number 40, 40 is Iyi, Eva, Iyeva. And what is Iyeva? Iyi, if you go to the market, Anawe Ajemi, you see a heap of pepper, see a heap of yam, or you see a heap of something. That is also regarded as 20, but not in the counting case, right? So, but when you now want to count, when you are counting, in the counting case, Iyi is regarded as 20, while Iyeva is now telling you that 20 in two places. So Iyokpa Nahi, which is 20, Iyeva Nahi, which is 40. That is. So when you see 60, you have Iyea, Iyi, Eya, which is 20 in three places. 20 in three places. So on and so forth. Now, 50 will now tell you Ekigbesiyea, Ekigbe, sorry, Siyea, which means Aka Igbe Se Iyea. You count 10 to 60. Aka Igbe Se Iyea. Ekigbesiyea. Rapid speech also comes in. So this is what the Edo alphabet is all about, right? So today's class is very, very simple. We are going to be recapping and recapping and recapping. I divided this class in two because I wanted everybody to catch on, right? So from number 20 down to number 100, it's from one unique way to another, to another, to another. Edo is a descriptive language.